Welcome to the Interior Analysis Podcast. I'm your host for this one, Jelani Kelly.
I'm Evan Westman.
I'm David Jones.
And today we're doing another show, people. But if you haven't seen the title of this episode, we're talking about Invincible. It was on Amazon, or it still is on Amazon Prime, written by or created by Robert Kirkman. I don't know if all the episodes were written by him. Same guy that did the original Walking Dead, the comic, and then also helped on the AMC shows. Yeah, that guy. So this is my set. I watched it twice total recently, just to brush up on anything I missed. Make sure my notes were nice and good. I originally watched it with my dad when it first came out, and we were watching it weekly. There's some initial reactions. Like, y'all know nothing about this series, right? Like, you seemed interested based on the cast alone.
Before watching it, I knew nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd heard about it. I think I saw one trailer and saw, like, the massive voice cast, and then I knew the couple of memes, the, like, think mark, and then look at what they... What's the thing? Look at what they need to mimic, like, a fraction of our power.
Yeah.
Maybe there was one other one, but I think it was mostly those two. I saw those everywhere for about a week. But aside from that, yeah, I knew nothing.
Me coming into this, I only read 15 issues in before it came out, just past the point of Omni-Man's betrayal in the comics, and man, was it a joy to hear and see everyone's reactions at the end of episode 1. That's why I asked you guys, that's why I asked you to text me your reactions at the end of the first episode, because a lot of people didn't see that coming. I was especially, like, gleeful at my dad's reaction because his jaw just dropped. Though it was a little strange because he was telling me that Omni-Man was like dropping gems when it came to the stuff he was teaching Mark, like the father-son thing, even though episode 1 had happened. I was like, he's still evil though, Dad. I get it. He's telling us some important things, but he's a space Nazi. Alright.
Yeah.
Down the line, I'm going to try and read ahead in the comments just so we have another perspective on the series going forward. Like Evan said, lots of memes have come from this show. Think Mark, Debbie being a pet, that was a meme, or it still is a meme. Look at what they need to mimic a fraction of our power, and recently, that's the neat part, you don't when asked something. I don't know how to explain that one. Let's get into initial reactions from you guys. What did you think?
Well, my first reaction was, this is the most Jelani show ever. I'm going to list off every box that it checks. Okay, superheroes, check.
Yep.
Violence, check. Real stakes and consequences, check.
Yep.
Alternate Superman character, who's kind of evil, check.
Yep.
Massive world building. Central father-son relationship, unstoppable villain. Am I forgetting anything? Oh yeah, the villain wins.
Yeah.
So I think that's 9 out of 10 boxes.
Yep. Only
Did I
box
miss
that
anything?
didn't check was No. I think
and
you got
J.K. Simmons shouting. Yep, that's
that,
another box.
and then also just swearing in general. Like, they didn't chicken out when it comes to swearing. Oh, warning, there might be swearing in this episode. Yeah, I just didn't like the protagonist, and we'll get into that. Yeah, when you said that and then listed everything, I was like, I guess that is why I like it so much.
Yeah, I mean, I know we haven't covered probably like all of your taste, but like from every other thing that you've picked, like this pretty much checks every box. And also, like, aside from that, I don't know how many people listening are familiar with the Descended series, but watching this kind of, it's not like super similar to your Descended series, but the experience of watching this kind of reminded me of reading your first book more than anything else, like more than any other superhero media. I'm not totally sure why, but I know I like got that impression. So.
And I just covering my butt here. I did write the Descended, like the first 8 Descended novels without even reading Invincible, so I don't. But it just so happens to be similar.
I don't think it's even like that similar in like a 1-to-1 comparison. It just kind of
no.
It was really just like a feeling that I got with it. Like they felt like I don't even know how to say it. It's like maybe like they have the same like spirit of the genre or something.
Right. Yeah.
They felt similar-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Resonant, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, my initial reactions, because I pretty much split my viewing. Like, I watched like the first 4 episodes, then the second 4 episodes. So, like, my first initial reactions encompassed my experience with watching the first 4 back to back. And I enjoy, like, it's very aware that it's part of the genre, similar to when Robert Kirkman was writing the Walking Dead comics. Like, he's very smart with how he writes genre pieces because he plays into the tropes, but then he subverts the trope. Like, he really messes with the audience that way, and it's really fun. Like, well, I was watching a video of the differences in the comics from the show because I had not read the comics, but yeah, learning about how the betrayal is like X amount of issues in versus getting it at the end of the first episode created such a tension that drives the whole like series or the first season, and it was so interesting to see an evil superhero like with Watchmen because I did read that comic as a kid. Like I got to see evilness kind of permeating the superhero realm, but it wasn't as space Nazi-ish as this was. Like this truly was like ultimate power. What if that person just decided to conquer all? And it was like, oh my God. By the time I got to the last episode, I was so into it. I was like, I'm so much more into this than I actually thought I was a few episodes ago. Like, I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed how like the piss they take on the Justice League. Like all of the original
Oh yeah.
group of people are just like mock members of the Justice League, and I really found that
I was
fun.
like, the boys' superhero names sound downright subtle by comparison to like this parallel Justice League.
War Woman.
Aquaman's literally a fish.
Yeah. Green Ghost. Darkwing.
Yeah.
Fast Guy has the same symbol as the Flash. That was fun.
And the same red suit, I think. What was it? Red Rush
Red
is that
Rush.
guy? Yeah. And then, who is the Immortal supposed to be?
Superman, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were trying to make him look like Wolverine, but I was like, that's Marvel, so.
I feel like
I thought
he's
he
more
was, like-
original than anything, because you saw the flashback scene with like him like being different important characters through the ages.
Right,
Like,
well,
he was Abe
isn't
Lincoln.
Wolverine kind of like that too? Like,
Not really. There's a DC villain by the name of Vandal Savage that's more like that.
okay.
But he's not he's a villain, so he's not on the Justice League. I feel like he was probably the most original because Omni-Man is technically the Superman, but he never like technically joined the Guardians of the Globe. So I don't know. More reactions. Keep them coming.
I was really surprised when Will was gay. I was like, whoa, this is happening. That was cool though. And yeah, I was also just like, well, we'll probably talk about it more, but Mark was probably like the least, I don't want to say interesting character, but he was the one that provoked the least emotion for me when I was watching like anything on my screen. I was like,
Yeah.
what's going on, man? Like he kind of suffered from that basic protagonist syndrome where everyone else around him is actually interesting and they just used him to bounce things off of.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. William, even at one point, is like, you're kind of basic. I was like, wow, that's maybe a little too self-aware for... And that's, like, normal for, like, his kind of character. But he is a little bit bland.
Yeah. And stupid, but still not on that topic. Any more reactions?
I had a couple small ones. The last 2 episodes were fire. The rest of the series, I wasn't super into it for like the first 6, but then the last 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it drags a little in the middle. I like that it's animated though. I think that for some reason makes me like it more than The Boys, because I mean The Boys is kind of a parallel, it's a comparable series.
Yeah.
And I think I just enjoy watching it as a cartoon better for some reason.
You could also just never do the types of stuff they were doing in live action, like,
or it would
as
look really
clean.
bad.
Yeah, like just really quick to Evan's point about the last 2 episodes, like I felt that, and specifically with the animation, the shot, I'm never gonna get the shot out of my head where he holds his son up against the subway and it's just that POV.
Holy shit, yeah.
I was like, this is like top 5 shots I've seen this year. Like I have just whoa, sensory overload. My brain is shutting off.
It's
Too much
so
is happening.
intense.
He was David. He was just helping his son with his training.
I mean, that's one way of putting it.
You get it? His training.
Oh, wow. Okay.
His training.
That's low, man. Even
There was
for,
a meme
for all the puns we've had on this show. That's low.
There was a meme I saw where Omni-Man was asking Mark what he wanted for dinner. He was like, "I'm thinking Subway."
Wow. Okay, I didn't think that could get worse, but
Yeah.
so on the note of that final fight scene, 2 comparisons to Man of Steel. One, as good as it was, I thought it would have been top tier if you had Hans Zimmer's Man of Steel score underneath it. Like the score there was pretty good, but like I needed some of that Man of Steel score for that scene. I want somebody to make an edit.
You notice how they paid homage? Every like super, except Homelander, every super evil Superman or just Superman character, Superman-esque character does that scene from Man of Steel now. He did it on Mark, which is fucked up.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Where he was like punching him in the air. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen Man of Steel in a while, but to my memory, that fight in Invincible made the end of Man of Steel look like a car accident by comparison. It was like so much more destruction and death that we saw. Like it was, I was like, wow, this is some like next level destruction kind of scenes.
Right? And then he pins it on him. Like I was waiting for it. Like I was like, blame him. Just do it, you little Hitler. And then he did it. He was like, it's your fault that these people died. And I was like, yeah, you can't take any accountability, Omni-Man.
Is that it for reactions?
I had one more. Just I liked Eve's approach to being a hero, and I don't know if we'll talk about this more with Mark, but I really appreciated seeing like her approach where she's going to where the trouble is rather than waiting for a supervillain to show up. I've kind of felt like this will never happen, but I would kind of like to see like a superhero that fights like white collar crime, like tax fraud and that, or like people who like do scammy Wall Street kind of things. And I don't think that'll ever exist because it's not very cinematic or superhero-ish, but this is maybe like a close second. Whereas like just taking everyday issues and like not just waiting for a fight scene to occur.
What director could make something as boring as that exciting?
David Fincher.
I
Tarantino.
said Fincher.
No, not
Or-
Tarantino.
Blood.
Bloodbath.
So much blood in the tax office today.
We need to find a way to throw the N-word in.
So that could be part 3 to the Wolf of Wall Street, Big Short Wall Street trilogy. Tarantino's Wall Street revenge story.
Right? It all ends like machine guns ablaze. People are like jumping out of the window.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's barefoot.
Oh.
See, all you see is feet. Everything else is sound.
Yeah, that's the end of my initial reactions, though.
My last reaction is, I think it's in the final episode. Yeah, it is. It's when there's like the jet and the guy's falling and Mike saves them. Or Mark saves them. And I'm
He's
like,
forgettable. Don't worry about it.
I was like, please, Omni-Man, fly down and just kill him. I wasn't picky on how, but I was like, Omni-Man, please just kill him in front of Mark just to make this so inconsequential. And then he just does it and he smashes his head and the blood's all over Mark's face. And I'm just like, this is fucking sick. It was so gnarly.
upsetting. But yeah, I mean, it's like such a what a testament to the villain they've created.
I was so happy when that happened.
Well, his follow-up too, I don't know if we wanted to get into Omni-Man first or not, but like his follow-up to that, I feel like it's not like a sympathetic motivation, but you like in that scene, the way he's talking about everything, like I love how consistent they are with how he like thinks in centuries.
Yeah.
Basically, like it's brought up in several points in that scene, but you really like throughout that feel how insignificant he sees everyone else as. Because to him, 50 years means basically nothing, whereas to that pilot, 50 years was the whole rest of his life.
That's crazy. Let's get the cast out of the way, because I briefly mentioned that in the intro, and then we could jump to one of the characters. But
This is the most stacked cast since the Mario movie was announced.
Oh, wow, freaking Mario movie. Let's not get into that.
So based on not just the voice acting, but acting talent in general we have for season 1 of this series, the animation was bound to take a dive at certain points. Shortcuts here and there with CGI and whatnot. But with who's attached to the series, I couldn't give less of a shit. Hell, the non-great animation segments made the fight stand out that much more, if you ask me. Especially that final Omni-Man versus Invincible. It was not so invincible.
Yeah, because I think it was around episode 5 that I realized that a significant part of what I was watching was them animating walk and talks, and I was like, what Aaron Sorkin show did I just look into?
Yeah, but not with Sorkin level dialogue. The only walk and talks only work because it's Sorkin dialogue.
I hope to get that reference one day.
You will. We're covering a lot of Sorkin down the line.
I look forward to it. I'm not going to list off everyone, but J.K. Simmons and Mahershala Ali alone are enough for me to watch pretty much anything. But I'm going to let anyone listening just look up the cast themselves and see if you think it's worth watching based on just the amount of talent that's in this. What else do you guys have on the cast?
I mean, it's a stat cast. You have Sandra Oh, Steven Yeun.
Yep.
Zachary Quinto, who I for sure thought he was going to be the villain because he's Zachary Quinto.
My favorite two were Seth Rogen as the alien and Justin Roiland as the teenage boy, or like the 20-year-old.
The edgy one?
Yeah, the one who's like, come sleep with me.
Yeah. He's the first one who gets turned in.
Yeah,
I was just like, it's
campus.
like college-aged Rick Sanchez. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Gillian Jacobs is great in this, but I couldn't help hearing Britta every time she
Britta's
talked.
in this.
Like, it's just that voice is cemented as Britta for me still.
Yep. Greg Griffin, another honorable mention. I think Kari Payton is Black Samson.
The dad from Family Matters is in it at some point.
Yeah, Reginald Bill Johnson. Yep. Mahershala Ali is Titan. You got, God, what's his name? Kevin Richards? Kevin something? As the Mauler twins.
I loved them. I've enjoyed them. I usually don't enjoy like comic relief that much, but they were good for me. I was like, these are just some fun little guys.
Yeah. I feel like they always had the best background music. I went and found a Spotify playlist with like
Run the Jewels.
There is so many good Run the Jewels songs, dude.
Run the Jewels.
I added like
me.
4 of them.
Kevin Michael Richardson. I just wanted to correct myself with that. But yeah, those guys with them. What's his? Oh God, I forget his name too. Jay something. Who was Rick Splode?
Oh yeah, the guy who's in all of those comics.
I think.
He pretty much just plays an insane person every time. Yeah,
I feel like he plays the same character every time, but he is that person, I feel.
Yep, he plays the same character on Big Mouth, and same character on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he played the same type of character in The Good Place.
Yeah, and he played the same character in Bad Grandpa.
I didn't see that, but I can imagine what that is. If any name we mention isn't enough to go watch the show, look up the cast yourself and then get back to me. All right.
Clancy Brown as Damien Darkblood.
Oh yeah.
Mark Hamill as Art Rosenbaum.
The
And
Joker
Walton
and Luke.
Goggins as Cecil.
The first time I saw Walton Goggins in anything, it was The Hateful Eight. So
Same.
I'm just picturing him as a racist guy. That's because of the movie.
I've never seen his face before, but Mans has quite the forehead.
He does, yeah. Yeah, I hope he blows up a little more. He's pretty good. Actually, you have seen his face, David. He's the polygraph reader in the
Oh,
in
yeah!
Pierce's will reading in Community.
Oh,
He's that
shit.
guy.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. That's funny.
So let's, because I kind of want to save Omni-Man for last of the characters we have to go through. Let's start with the protagonist, the blandest of boys. I don't really care for him as a character for the most part. It's weird because when I was younger, I always found myself attached to like the main character of the series, especially animated. But I think Mark just makes every wrong decision possible in this show. Just a lot of stupid decisions. Yeah, you can make the argument he's a teenager, but he's like 17, 18 at this point, and he should have his shit together at least a little bit. One of, if not the only part I cared for him as a character was his fight against his dad. And I didn't think the line, I'd still have you, Dad, would hit like it did, but I think Stephen Young did a fantastic job. You did a fantastic job with that line reading. I hate him. He's about the only part of the show I didn't like besides Amber.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a strong feeling for or against him, which I think is the worst place to feel with the protagonist. Like, I'm so lukewarm with him. He's so whatever, and
You thought his name was Mike.
Yeah, I literally did. And it's not, I don't think, because he's invincible. Like, usually I don't tend to like the super overpowered superheroes, but to me, like, I didn't get that vibe with him anyway. I just really, there wasn't anything that I needed that he was giving. I was like, what is happening? Like, I just feel like he found himself in certain situations.
I think he loses every single fight he's in.
Not all of them. I think there's a montage where he wins a bunch in like episode 5, I want to say.
Oh, when he gets sent on like that mission.
I think it's after that. Whatever one ends with the office fight, I think he like wins a bunch of battles before that. Like at the very beginning of the episode, it's like a quick montage.
You see how forgettable that is?
Yeah, and I also didn't care for the like not super heavy-handed, but kind of their love triangle that they want you to have with like Adam and Eve, and then his girlfriend Brooke. It's like. Amber, see? I don't know. I was just throwing names out. Yeah, so I was like, I really could care less. And then I also didn't, it was like the second to last episode where he's with Eve and they're talking. She's pretty much like, how could you string her along for X amount of months? And I was like, we've covered this many months? Like, I thought that maybe it's been like a couple weeks. Like, I didn't know, like, over half a year had gone by since the start of the season.
I didn't even remember that. Yeah. I also was relatively like, I didn't hate Mark, but I didn't find him compelling. I do take issue mostly with how he approaches being a hero. I don't like that he waits to be heroic until he gets his powers, and I want to save that for a different episode mostly that we're doing soon. He wants his powers, and like, sure, I get that, but also I don't think he has, like, I think he lacks the correct traits.
Common sense.
Fair, yeah, common sense. I take more issue with the fact that, like, I don't think he actually understands what being a hero means and, like, being able to stand up for people and protect people. I think he's kind of more into, like, the power fantasy of it.
Mm-hmm.
Given his upbringing, I understand that because he's like had an expectation his whole life that he's going to be blessed with some kind of abilities at some point. But also like, and maybe this is kind of the fault of Nolan not really teaching him, like, because we see a little bit of it, but like, I don't think Nolan necessarily has like noble intentions. Even like, obviously he doesn't. But I don't think he would have infused Mark with any, like, noble intentions in how he approaches being a hero. on top of that, like, I understand where he's coming from with, like, he wants to be a regular high schooler, have his relationship with Amber, and, like, still do decent in school. But then he's, like, annoyed anytime he gets called on a mission. It's like, all right, bro, I get that. But at the same time, you signed up for this. This is what you wanted. There's sacrifice that goes along with it. That you really should not be surprised. And, like, I think he just does not have, like, the internal qualities of...
I like that Cecil calls him out on it at one point, too. He's like, when I call you, you pick up the goddamn phone or something. Whatever he said, paraphrasing. But before we move on, I just want to mention, honorable mention of my second favorite character, Battle Beast. Mark got absolutely clapped by Battle Beast, which was hilarious. He went from, you guys are fucking dead, to who's next, to having his face shoved into the floor by an alien cat. Again, Battle Beast is probably my second favorite character because of what I was expecting going into that office scene. That's next to the final fight between Omni-Man and Invincible. It's probably my second favorite scene, and then my third favorite scene is the intro that everybody was shocked to see. Because, man, did they take a big fat L in that scene. I didn't expect some random henchman type to come out and wash the entire team. And I loved every second of it because my expectations of what a superhero show should be were... I don't even know what's worse than subverted. Ultra subverted.
Yeah, I did appreciate, in especially that fight, that they were using their powers like powers in the context of the fight. It wasn't just like an MCU fight. It felt more like X-Men, where it is like when it's lightning that acts differently than like a blast of energy or a bullet, because I feel like in especially like MCU kind of fight scenes, those are all pretty interchangeable. Like, I don't know, they all kind of do the same thing. I feel like it's just like, all right, punches and projectiles from one side, and then punches and projectiles from another. They all kind of behave the same.
Doctor Strange, why are you wielding a Glock 19? I'm sorry.
Wait, what's that?
I want to see Spider-Man start strapping.
Well, he already has the mask, so he won't be identified. It's all good. And no fingerprints.
No fingerprints.
And COVID cautious.
Yep. He's a responsible
friendly neighborhood. Yep.
Gunslinger.
It's your friendly neighborhood shotgun wielding Spider-Man. Yeah, I did appreciate the fight scene, that one in particular, that they used the powers very creatively. Also, did I see they did the Ant-Man up the butthole theory? Did I?
No, they did it in the ear.
Wrong? Oh, it was in the ear. Okay.
Ear. I'm glad they didn't do that.
Well, I don't know. It seemed like a response to that, because I know that went around the internet for a while.
I hated it.
It's just because it's Paul Rudd.
No, I think it's because it's the internet. I don't think it matters who was playing it.
Oh, trust it matters. People love Paul Rudd.
And they want to see him go up somebody's ass?
A lot of people would love Paul Rudd to be up their ass.
Fair. I guess. Maybe not in that way exactly.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Alright.
I guess not.
Goddamn. Debbie. Debbie is another character in the show. Somebody else start. What are you guys' thoughts on Debbie?
So I talked to another writer friend about a week ago about the show, and his main reaction was he really liked the way that Debbie is kind of unique among others of her archetype. For one thing, a lot of times superhero parents, there's only like one parental figure that's really spotlighted. Like if you look at some of the main ones, Aunt May, Thomas Wayne, Miles Morales' dad. I don't remember his name. Maybe there's other examples that I'm not thinking of, but like even when the other parent is in the picture, there's kind of only one that's featured. And obviously Nolan is more featured, but Debbie has her own major side plot.
Yep.
And is probably in the top 5 most spotlighted characters in the show. And I did really enjoy like the domestic drama that she had where she was like investigating Nolan in her own house. I thought they did a really good job with one, not sidelining her, and two, like making her pretty unique among superhero parent characters.
Yeah. They also could have just easily just killed her off without doing that, and I appreciate that they didn't. One of my friends said Debbie is a strong character, and I didn't understand when he said this, but once he explained about her being a force within her own family of superpowered aliens and still being a relatable human, I understood a little bit more. There was a moment I really liked with her where Cecil was telling her that Nolan, the writer, had officially died in a gas explosion and that she and Mark would be set and taken care of. Try to help them get back to normal, and then she repeated normal, and it seemed as if she was like gonna misdirect her anger at him to Cecil and was just trying to help, but she immediately apologized. And I feel like most fictional media I've seen, a lot of writers would have had her like go off on him, but I like that she realized Cecil wasn't to blame. I don't know, that was just a really good character moment I enjoyed.
I think they did a good job with their dynamic because like there's definitely a lot of conflict there, and like it makes sense, but I think they do a good job giving you both of their perspectives, like pretty equally, where like Cecil has his job and like I think he acknowledges like how messy it is, and I think Debbie has a respect for that, but Cecil on the other side of it also I think really does understand how much his actions and like everything that he's wrapped up in is affecting Debbie.
Right.
Like there's kind of a nice respect between them.
When like Invincible is in the jaws of that giant monster thing, she's like, get him out of there, and he's like, I can't do it, and she's like, this is why I hate you, and he's like, this is why I hate me too.
That was the line. Because they didn't know which side Invincible was on at the time.
My experience with Debbie, I enjoyed her. I love Sandra Oh. I also tend to love the female point of view in shows, and I just loved how in this show specifically, she felt like the one who had the most to lose in the family dynamic. Invincible, they pretty much tell you throughout this whole show he can't be destroyed, so I didn't really fear for his life. Omni-Man, I have no reason to fear for his life. So it was really, I was just worried about Debbie. Debbie was my girl, whatever was happening, whenever she was snooping around with Cecil, when she was drinking wine, I just wanted her to feel better. I thought she was going to kill her in that moment when he's like, you're drunk. Like, I was like, oh my God, no. But he just flies away. So,
yeah,
I don't know. There's an interesting side to Omni-Man where I don't think he wants to touch into his emotional side because he's from that alien species that just isn't into eugenics. But I don't know. Debbie holds her own in this world of toxic masculinity, and we love her for it.
I really did feel that tension though, that like even before like the line of like I see your mother more as a pet, I was like Omni-Man could very easily, like not even just in terms of like a physical sense, I was like I don't think it would take that much for him to kill Debbie. I'm actually a little surprised that he doesn't try to, looking back on it.
Well, who wants to kill their pet, Evan?
Well, I mean, I guess if you put it that way.
Who wants to reproduce with their pet?
Okay, well, I was gonna ask that, so I'm not even gonna respond.
Glad to say I wasn't going there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it brings a valid point, because, like, if he is this kind of purebred mentality,
right,
he would theoretically, after she's produced the offspring and raised it to a certain point, like, I feel like the way he's written to think, he would think, all right, at this point, a mother's not really needed, and let the father take this lead, or I don't know.
Well, yes, but he also, like, if we're looking at it from his perspective where he, like, very much doesn't care that much about being a parent or a husband, he might be into the idea of just kind of pawning off Mark to be raised by Debbie instead of by him.
I think that could have been his plan if Mark never got his powers.
That's true. He didn't know if the experiment would have worked yet.
Yeah, and it's very clear that like before Mark gets his powers, and even like after, he very clearly does not care about Mark until he realizes that he is like a pure Viltrumite.
Mm-hmm.
Which is he a pure one, or is he like?
There was one scene that said he's pretty much pure because the Viltrumite cells don't take shit from any other cell. It was one of the times he was in the hospital.
He said like even though like you're so pure blooded that something I don't know, it's something in episode 8 he makes some kind of reference to it that like
yeah it's when he's telling him that he's gonna live forever.
Yeah.
But that's what I was thinking. I was like, could he be wrong? Because it is a human that he reproduced with. Like, he's from a planet where they're all that species. So could this be something that's a seed planted for later seasons as a character reveal that maybe he isn't and he's some sort of hybrid species?
So he just invents?
Well, I mean, I think maybe that's why he's invincible. Like, maybe this hybrid species will allow him to take out the Viltrumites.
I don't know if he is, though, because I feel like he is... I think he's killable. I think Omni-Man was very close to killing him at the end. Like, I don't think he truly is invincible.
I mean, he had his guts splayed out when he got hit by that axe in the office. Like, he was pretty much dead.
Yeah. I think there's stuff he can't survive. Obviously,
which I think lends to the theory that he wouldn't be a full whatever they're called. Yeah, because Omni-Man seems to be able to take any blast from space.
Right. They had that, whatever the thing was, the space laser.
That and also the little cutscene they show of their, practicing killing each other until they became pure was like, okay, so does this mean that Mark isn't pure? Because theoretically, like, the Punnett square wouldn't be that perfect.
That's true. I don't know if they've really given it that much thought as to the genetics in terms of like writing this. Yeah, science tends to go out the window in superhero movies. So, throw the word quantum in front of anything and you can kind of call it good is often the vibe.
Quantum
Man.
Speaking of Omni-Man,
the power of physics.
I also have one more gripe before you get into Omni-Man.
Mm-hmm.
The ending where, like, they build up this whole thing throughout the season where, like, you can't wipe the blood off until you earn it. And then the team pretty much does nothing that we see. Like, they're helping other people, but it's like a quick little cutscene. And then the guy starts to wipe it off, and the other guy, like, barks at him. And then the rest of the team, like, assembles to help the guy who's about to get beat up. And then he's like, see, now we've earned it. I'm like, what the hell was that?
I could not care less about the Guardians of the Globe.
To be honest, I'm with Evan.
I didn't care about any of that.
I don't think I care for them as characters in general.
But isn't that kind of like a bad thing? Shouldn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, aside from
have
Eve,
so much time on the screen.
Does Eve count as a Guardian? Okay, so I'm into like Eve's whole storyline and like her as a character, but everyone else, nah. They could have cut that out of the show and I wouldn't have cared.
Maybe Monster Girl because Grey Griffin voices her and she was also Azula. So.
Oh, she's Azula. Okay, cool. Yeah. I didn't hear that at all.
Okay, I felt like I heard her, but I didn't know where. But I heard that crazy bitch in the back of that girl's throat. Oh, I love Azula.
She's also Vicky, I'm pretty sure.
I see that.
Pretty sure that's her.
They all have that similar tone that's just annoying.
The scratchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, fun fact, I saw this on Reddit. I spent a lot of time on Reddit, guys. Just scrolling. You remember when Mark tosses the garbage bag when he first gets his powers? Remember when that guard and his son are in London and they're talking about the Queen?
Oh yeah,
and the
that
symbol
thing that
of power
got dropped off.
Yeah,
in 2 episodes.
That was the bag that Mark threw. Like that, I'm pretty sure it's a running joke in the comics, but that's the same bag. When they got hit with like, I didn't know they had burger towns or marks or whatever the hell it's called out here in London.
make
That's
that connection.
clever.
Yeah,
See, they're smart enough to have that, but the other things that we're inquiring about go out the window. Pick and choosing this writer's room.
That feels a lot like the My Cabbages guy from Avatar.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Like if they turned it into a running gag. It's like the dude who's always in the crossfire.
Also, I didn't understand. You remember that one episode, that intro where that mummy came back to life?
Oh
then
yeah,
just
the one
got
that started like a
immediately
Scooby Doo
sealed?
episode.
And I was like, okay, he got. I don't understand. And then they never went back to it that entire season. So I don't know if he's coming back or not, or if that was just a joke. That was a really expensive joke to make, though. Omni-Man. No, wait. Let's do Amber first. Omni-Man's the best. So let's go Amber. The controversial. Alright, so there was a lot of hate for this character as the episodes were airing. Not because they made a white character black, because she was white in the comics, FYI, but because of her claiming to know that Mark was invincible the whole time. Or for a couple of weeks, or whatever the hell she said. It would be fine, but she had to go out of her way to be pissed off at Mark for things like running away when the cyborg attacked on the college campus, which by this point she says she knew, or the soup kitchen thing, which is where I'm most annoyed, where Eve showed up, but Mark didn't, because he was literally fucking dying. But her soup kitchen, though. Then in the end, she came running back to him after supposedly dumping him when he almost died again from fighting his dad. Not only was I personally upset because of what she did, but she's one of the few black cast members of the show, alongside an angry black superhero that causes problems with his team, like Samson. Strange name, by the way. And a criminal, quote unquote, looking out for his daughter that becomes a kingpin. Fantastic. So there's not really any black character I can attach myself to. Amber, guys. Go ahead.
In the video that I watched after I finished the season, they said how Amber was white, and then also that she was even less of a developed character in the comic, and that like blew my mind because I didn't think she was developed in the show. So I was like, what is Amber in the comic, man? Like apparently she just like forgives him in the hospital. She's just like, Mark. And I'm like, okay. I don't know. Amber was there.
She's just a plot device, to be honest. In my
In the
eyes.
comic or in the show? You mean?
Both.
Okay.
She's serving as that love triangle thing David mentioned. Like I don't think they're gonna stay together. Continue.
I think they like. I actually liked where their relationship was at the beginning, where they like. I was like, okay, they've kind of got some chemistry here. I could get behind this.
Yep.
I was actually relatively okay with the like. Okay, she knew he was invincible, and I was like, all right, yeah, that is kind of a plot hole, but also I really appreciated that like him coming clean to her didn't actually solve everything, because I was expecting that, because I think that's happened in other like. I mean, that's Spider-Man 2, I think. It's basically like that trope. So I was actually glad that happened, because I don't think Mark necessarily does deserve to be forgiven about that immediately. I do think they stretched it out a little too long. Like, as soon as there was the fight on the campus where, like, Mark is invincible, like, I don't understand why the show or the characters decided, like, why did neither Mark or Amber come clean right then?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really see the motivation there. Like, I kind of get it with her being like, all right, let's see how long it takes him to tell me. Also, maybe she's not totally sure about, like, going forward. I also had a question of, like, before the reveal happened, I was like, what's the worst that could happen if he does reveal himself as invincible? Like, it doesn't feel to me like the consequences would be all that high.
Right.
And, like, granted, I think it was kind of leaning on, like, other superhero media where it's like, oh, yeah, protect your identity, protect the people you love, like, all of that. But I didn't feel like that was really a danger here. That didn't work great. And then I feel like they just kind of phoned it in after that with, like, we don't need Amber to be there for the last 2 episodes, so, okay, we'll have him break up. And then, I don't know if I buy them getting back together
Nope.
at the end. I guess I don't but also like maybe, and we'll see where they go with it. But I feel like they could have been a pretty good and shippable couple. Like I thought they were for the first couple episodes where they were together, and then they kind of dropped the ball with it. Like
she's also voiced by Zazie Beetz, who I like as an actress. So that's kind of disappointing that they gave her this character.
She does well with it, like from a voice acting standpoint.
Oh yeah, 100%. But my God, the writing for Amber was not the greatest. Best character of the show, Omni-Man. By far my favorite character, voiced by J.K. motherfucking Simmons, who ironically played Fletcher, where he was angry and swearing as well. That's crazy, right? Yeah, it's crazy. It's another take on the evil Superman character, which is one of my favorite archetypes, as you guys should know by now. But I also like his abilities, because they go to show you, and I probably should have mentioned this earlier, they go to show you how strong the heroes are by how badly he gets beat by the Guardians in the episode. And then in the final episode, how things like missiles have no effect on him and lasers have no effect on him whatsoever. What his people do makes him look like a cross between Saiyans from Dragon Ball Z, who are alien conquering MFers, and Kryptonians, because they have similar abilities. Not exactly a mix of power sets, but dope as hell nonetheless, which also gives me an idea for Descended, but more on that when that book comes out. And my brother and I love to quote the one line where he's like, "What's another 17 more years? I can always start again. Make another kid." Because he's like casually beating the life out of his son in between sentences while calmly saying the most devastating thing he could say to Mark in that moment. And I find that hilarious. Alright, your turn.
I mean, agree that he's the most compelling character in the show. I see why you wanted to bring this up on the Whiplash podcast a little bit, and it's not just the J.K. Simmons, because there are some kind of like parental things that we were bringing up on that episode where it's like he very much is like raising Mark as like a prodigy child, like kind of, I don't know about seeing himself vicariously through Mark. It doesn't feel like that so much, but yeah, definitely some parallel themes there. Two lines that stood out to me. One, "Earth isn't yours to conquer," is maybe my favorite line in the show. I was like, holy shit, that's wow, okay. And then he just wrecks that entire planet. That was awesome. But he does steal straight out of V for Vendetta. He steals saying "my turn" after getting shot at. It's so cool when V does it. They stole that. There is a
lot of media does that now, though, Evan.
Okay, but nobody does it like V for Vendetta. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but
nope.
It's so boss when V does it. Yes.
Was it a comic originally?
Yeah.
It was a comic originally. I've read the comic's very different from the movie, though. I have actually read it.
Okay.
We got to do that tomorrow in 10 minutes. Also, is the 5th of November, so it'll be after that by the time this comes out.
Oh damn!
But, yep. Remember. Let's get it.
That's how it goes. That's what he said. Remember. Let's get it.
Guy Fawkes. Remember. Let's get it. I liked that with Omni-Man, they had him go all-out supervillain at the end of this season and not hold off with it like The Boys is doing with Homelander. I like that now the world sees Omni-Man for what he is, and we're not just like the frustrations we had with Homelander when we talked about The Boys, like how we're like, I just want to see him go as nuts as he can, because it's like, as much as they do with him in that show, it does still feel like they're holding back. And that last episode with Omni-Man, and even the first one, like we see him going all out from the beginning, and then like they do build on it, where by the end he has like, because unlike Homelander, he doesn't care about public opinion like that, has zero regard for like his reputation at a certain point. And then last point with him, the flashback to the baseball scene in the final fight was definitely amazing. Although I was like super tensed up during it. I'm pretty sure if Mark got out in that scene as a kid, he wouldn't have had that like revelation of like just understanding what being a father means.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't kill my kid.
Yeah, yeah. I think I rewatched that scene and I think one of the top comments was like, "Man, good thing Mark finished off that home run, or Omni-Man might not have held back there." But honestly, like I do honestly think that, which is not great for the character. But like you do feel in that scene that he does like there is actually some care that he has for Mark outside of just like continuing his legacy.
He leaves a
That
tear
said,
in space, Evan.
what is it?
He leaves a tear in space.
Yeah. So like, and I like that moment. That said, I think he has gone beyond the point of redemption for me. I don't want to see a redemption arc for him. Even if there is some kind of change, like I don't want to see them pull a Darth Vader with him where he like joins the good guys at the end because, you know, he's a genocidal space Nazi
Yep.
who's into eugenics. So like that's too many negatives for
Right.
like I don't think he's redeemable at this point.
That's another evil Superman comic, Irredeemable.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
I didn't finish it, but
So Omni-Man, I had ebbs and flows with him, and like when he was really being like a twisted motherfucker, I was into it. Like by the end of the first episode, when he just wiped them out, I was like, "Yo, this show is not what I thought it was. Let me keep it going." But then when Damien Darkblood would just like appear, and he would like run away with like his tail between his legs, I'd be like, "What? Like you just murdered like you just murked everybody, and now you got this invisible lizard telling you that he can like smell your blood and you're worried, like you're Omni-Man." So when like everything in the last couple episodes went down and he like had that arc where he killed the immortal in front of everybody, and it was like, "Oh, now you're not doing it in the dark anymore, Omni-Man," so he just like accepted it. I was like, all right, this is the Omni-Man I've been wanting all season, like just wreak havoc. But the flashback to the baseball didn't work for me. I was like, maybe if like in the first episode we had seen a quick clip of Mark and him doing anything with baseball to kind of make this make any form of sense to me, like I would have been like okay with it, just to like it could have been like a nice little mislead to establish their relationship, just so when this call black happened, I would have been like, okay, cool.
you don't remember when they were throwing the baseball across the planet?
I remember that, but like that is so not enough. Them playing catch in space is not enough for me to just be like, okay, this moment changed your life. Like I need that specific moment. Like I need
They
to
played
see
catch in space.
that for like 10 seconds.
Yeah. How's that not enough, David?
So not enough.
Maybe it's because I played baseball as a kid and it was my thing. So
No,
Was that enough for you,
like,
Evan?
I was just like, I understand, and it's like the most like American sport, and it's the most like hoorah moment. Like, what do you think with father son? You think playing catch, you think this and that. So it's like the most into that trope. But I just need you to establish it a little bit earlier and establish that if you're going to use it as such a severe callback, especially if that's going to flip his character to such a degree that we're getting a season 2 because he kept him alive. Like you're gonna tell me Hitler stopped killing him because he remembered the baseball game? Like you're gonna need to set that shit up in the first episode, bro.
yeah, I think it's definitely fair to criticize it because one, I can totally see how it might not have landed for everyone. I think it is a little bit of a cliche, maybe more than a little bit.
Yeah.
But I
how
do
many
like what they're
times
going
did-
for. Like,
So sick of seeing fathers beat the shit out of their sons and then remember a baseball game. That's such a cliche. Continue.
well, I didn't mean that exactly,
I
but I do like what that scene accomplishes, like that flashback, what its purpose is in terms of just like showing that there is, and I think Seth Rogen's Alien says after in like one of the final scenes, he's like, a Viltrumite has never defected from his planet. So
Exactly. That's just the weirdest thing about it to me. Like you're gonna tell me this guy is that like This needs to be some really life-changing shit to make this 1,000-year-old Hitler, who's been in his ways and has his DNA in his ways for the past who knows how many generations as they've been expanding the space empire. Something big has to like change that kind of mindset. And the trigger was a baseball game that we never saw before.
I think you have to take it maybe as like a little bit more symbolic, as just like not necessarily that moment exactly, but if you
His son.
if you
It's his
try to
son.
like put yourself well,
He
but if you
doesn't
try to
wanna
put
kill his
yourself
own
in his
son.
head, yeah, but I think like it's just I think that moment is just trying to show like this is a time where he wasn't Omni-Man, he was just Mark's dad, and that's it. I think that's what that scene is trying to accomplish. For me, it did. I don't think it's perfect. I think there probably is a better one out there.
Like one
But
where
I
he's
like when
playing
it was going
basketball
for
and dunks on somebody.
I mean, yeah, maybe that would have been better. Although, if he's a 8-year-old kid dunking on someone, that might be, I don't know.
No,
Context there's a little different.
They're using the little tight suits.
Ah, little tight suits. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I liked that flashback. Although I think it's imperfect.
Maybe it feels like frisbee golf instead.
Oh, wow.
It just
Okay.
takes me out of it. Like, I just don't buy it. Like, I'm just like, this dude, like, it's not like you have to have thought about it. Like, come on, this is the first time you're having the realization that you're murdering your fucking son. Like, you just kicked him across the entire universe, bro.
I was wondering, because he's like knocking Mark's teeth out, and then in the flashback he's got his
Gap
like
tooth, and it's like
missing.
that's why
I was
I
like,
read it as
is
like,
that
oh,
supposed to
he's
be-
realizing he's killing his baby. And that's why I was like, is this almost like a selfishness? Like he's so egotistical about his own pure offspring that he can't be the one to eradicate that pureness from the world because that would be hypocritical.
I don't know.
That's deep.
I think maybe there's going to be an explanation for it later on. I do think there is something more, like I do think he stopped because he was like accessing a level of humanity rather than ego. I think that's what we're supposed to get from that scene. Although I agree with you, David, like there are other reasons that he might have done it that are less pure.
Omni-Man, everybody. Do we have anything? I don't have anything else on
I mean, J.K. Simmons knocked it out of the park with the voice acting, of course.
out of the
So,
baseball park.
He has a home run.
Sure.
Grand slam.
Yep. Baseball metaphors, yep.
I think the design of him from just the artistic point of view is spot on. The buzz cut, the faded gray to white, the mustache. Like, for an alien dude, he looks like such the archetypical manly man of America.
Yep.
Although he really should lose the mustache. I don't know. I don't like solo mustaches. There's like very few people who can pull those off, I think.
Well, he's supposed to be space alien. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think it's the look for him. He needs a little goatee there.
all right. Facial hair aside, let's get into the character work. I think this show does a fantastic job skipping past the fact that superheroes exist. They released this show at an opportune time because by this point everyone is familiar with superheroes due to Marvel stuff, so they're just like, yep, superheroes exist in this world along with aliens and demons. Deal with it.
I mean, I never thought of it as like them doing a fantastic job because, like, to me, they're not doing a job of it. They just skip it. So, like, they do a great job skipping it. Like, they just throw it at us and we just accept it because we're at that point in the kind of movies and stories we intake that we don't have to question it.
There's also not a whole lot of backstory on how people become superheroes or where they got their powers from, which I only just noticed when I was writing the notes. But this allows way more time for character work. Like, there was a good number of slow down to earth moments in episode 1 alone. Like Mark's talk with Debbie, at least I think that's episode 1, where they're in the backyard and Mark is practicing how to fly, I think. His dad teaches him how to fly, his dad telling him about superheroing when he has that stupid first costume on. I mean, it's also 40 minutes an episode, so there's that, but take it from a writer who tends to focus more on action than anything. I think besides characters like Amber, I think this show does an all right time. You got Debbie, you got Omni-Man. Who else do you need? Cecil's pretty good.
Yeah, Eve. I like Eve.
Eve
as well.
And how do either of you feel? I think David, you said you like them. Jelani, how did you feel about the clone blue guys? I forget their names.
They're cool. They're always doing something strange and different. I'm always wondering like what the goal of what they're doing is.
Yeah, I got kind of lost with them. They always seem like a plot device for some other thing.
That's kind of true. Thing with Robot.
They kind of were plot devices for various other storylines, I thought.
Thing with Robot, the intro of the show, the Justice League, all that.
Yeah, that confused me at the end because I always took them as like face value, like Team Rocket Pokemon comic relief, where it's like it's not really what's going on in the episode, but they throw them in for like shiggles. But when they started like making the robot baby thing, I was like, whoa, maybe I should have been paying more attention to them.
Yeah, you just said shiggles, and I've never heard that before.
I like shits and giggles.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Okay.
I've never heard them put together.
Yeah,
I think that's
shiggles.
pretty fantastic.
It sounds like a cereal.
I'm trying to think of what their slogan would be.
Shiggles.
No shit,
Bite
all
in the
giggles.
morning.
What were we talking about?
Character stuff.
Yeah, characters. That's all I had. I don't really have much to say. I just like there's a lot of like down to earth moments. There's a lot of talking, but there's like when action comes, it counts. You know, it counts for something.
It does count, and it's severe. I was very surprised and pleased by like the severity, because like usually when superheroes die, they just come back with like a different outfit, but they actually died.
And
Justice League, the Snyder Cut.
yeah.
All he does is get a goth look. I mean, that's about it.
Death is itchy. Death is itchy, Evan.
Yep, death is itchy. Yeah, character work, I mean, you know, seconded everything you said, Jelani. Like, I like how quickly it sets everything up so we can just kind of like, everyone knows superheroes exist. That's established now. We don't run into the Bright problem. Cool. Let's go with it.
Oh boy. I forgot about that movie.
Well, it doesn't run into it, which is probably why you forgot about it.
Will
Like,
Smith
it never
is the
comes
lead
up.
in that. That's crazy.
Yep.
Let's not. Now I'm distracted because now I'm thinking about Bright. Anything else for character work? You got good characters in this. That's it.
Yeah. Some good characters, I'll say. I think, like we said, like there's some expendable ones that are just kind of filler.
Machine Head. I'm seeing a lot of love online for Machine Head. I think it's mainly because he talks in auto-tune, yeah.
I think I literally wrote down in my notes, like, at one point I was like, is this guy's superpower literally that he can just use auto-tune all the time? Like, that's what it seemed like initially.
He's my boss, T-Pain.
I was saying T-Pain doesn't voice him? That's a crime.
T-Pain deserves at least some royalties for this.
I should auto-tune our voices sometime. Just like,
what?
I don't know. Just for shiggles.
Yeah.
Callbacks.
Oh, man. Alright. Superhero stuff. This is the last talk before we get into some predictions for seasons 2 and 3. What do you guys? We're gonna start with you guys this time. What do you guys think the show adds / takes, if anything, to the superhero genre?
I enjoy a show, or specifically a superhero journey, that allows superheroes to be evil and also allows their actions to have real life consequences. Like when that one dude who can turn himself to like stone is coming at those people and they get like intimidated and he tells them about a shelter to go to. Like, I enjoyed that because that would probably be something a superhero would have to tell somebody after they demolish their building, Where other iterations, they just kind of skip those little more quieter, real moments for the loud spectacle of it all. I don't think this show does that. And I think that allows for the louder moments to be more impactful because there's actual stakes in the characters, or at least some of the characters, so you care more.
R.I.P. Donald, by the way. Remember when Omni-Man crushed his spine?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was... I think I made a note of, like, yeah, good for Donald, at least trying to like, stop him.
I think, realistically, he should not have been able to move his arm to push that button, let alone slam it, because of how spines work. But shout outs to the MVP. I don't think I have anything to add to what you said, David. Y'all know I like steaks, so
yeah,
medium rare.
God damn it! I was gonna make that joke. Yeah, good.
I think it definitely does have stakes, though. Like, we had a kind of resurrection with the Immortal, but then he dies almost immediately. And then with Robot and the clones, like, I don't know if we count those as resurrections exactly. But yeah, this definitely is, like, the Guardians of the Globe never come back. I think it is, like...
Aside from the one dude named literally the Immortal.
Right. And again, he gets clapped after, 10 minutes? Yeah, I think this checks that box. In fairness, though, it doesn't have heroes that, like, it sort of, like, quote-unquote can't kill for, like, IP reasons. So, and maybe that's like, part of the appeal with it, because it doesn't have that burden of, like, we have to appease the fans. It's like, we can be our own thing with it, make parallels to the genre, like, the more popular characters, I guess. I wouldn't say it's entirely original, though. I think it's a good contribution to the genre, but I don't know if it's bringing anything terribly new to the table. I would be definitely willing to hear counter arguments. From my perspective, it doesn't. Only other thing with it, I don't know if this means anything. I just thought some of the villains were, like, aggressively campy in this show. The one at Mount Rushmore, I remember being, like... I was like, wow, they're like... Okay, yeah, I didn't remember the name. I don't remember what he did, really, either, like, that made him stand out as campy, but I was like, they're going hard, like, they're going well past Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin in this, with, like, their campiness.
Oh my god, I love his Green Goblin.
Go for his heart.
But he's just freaking out, talking to himself in the mirror. Me. So
we
relatable.
kill those people.
We
For more of that, sign up for Patreon.
Oh, yeah. Also, I've gone on a rant on this twice in the past, and I was animated through both of them. But I remembered another reason I hated Mark. Imagine you're in any town, city in this fictional world, and you're chilling. Then a portal opens up, and a bunch of green aliens start killing everybody you know and love around you. And you start running, and you're ducking lasers and shit. And then you see this flying blue and yellow costumed superhero, and you're like, oh my god, a superhero, because we know superheroes exist. We're saved. He's gonna take care of the aliens. And then you hear that superhero yell out, hey, stop that. What do you think is gonna go through your head as you get shot in the back of the brain?
A laser.
Oh god, David.
That's better than my answer.
God.
I was gonna be like, what a dork.
Damn it. You're on fire this episode.
Thank you.
Agree.
Yeah, you're gonna be pretty pissed off as you die, cause Mark's a dumbass. That entire invasion scene when he's learning how to be a superhero. You were learning how to be a superhero, but you like knew superheroes existed. Would your first action when an alien invasion takes place and dozens of people are dying before your eyes be to tell the aliens to stop because you think they'll actually fucking listen? I don't think so. So fuck Mark.
I mean, trying to negotiate is maybe a move, but I don't know if that's the opener.
Evan, nobody even looked up at the sky when he arrived on the scene. No.
Okay. Fair. I'm not trying to argue with it. I'm just saying, like, talking things out is an option.
But like,
I don't
how
think
you gonna
that's
know they even understand English? They're aliens.
That's fair. I don't know. Maybe they have a translator. Maybe they've got a babelfish in their ear, that kind of thing.
This podcast is not sponsored by Crappy.
I will say though, I didn't think until Evan brought up the line earlier, "The Earth isn't yours to conquest," like what the actual meaning of that line was. Until now, I get it, because he really. You think at the moment he's all altruistic, but no, it's really malicious.
No, I didn't at all. I was like, oh wow, that is hella ominous.
Oh, I was in it. I was so into like the genre. I was like, yes, this is the trope, right? This is the good guy. He has to beat the bad guy. Bang bang, boom boom. So down.
Yeah, that's the line that stood out to everybody that I talked to about.
Yeah, I immediately saw that as ominous. Although I guess now looking at it, it could be like if Henry Cavill said that, or like Captain America would definitely say something like that with a straight face.
Earth's closed today, or whatever Tony Stark said.
Yeah. I think he does say that. Yeah.
Same level as violence as the boys, but animated. Meaning they're capable of so much more, like heads constantly exploding, mass amounts of destruction, etc. I think it relies on the fact that the viewer understands what superheroes are, which can be a bad thing, but like I said before, who doesn't know what they are by now? If you don't,
it's 2021, especially for an R-rated show. Like, this isn't something that kids are going to be watching, so it's not like you need to explain it. Like, Into the Spider-Verse kind of has to explain what Spider-Man is, because kids are going to watch that, but this is not that.
I also think for the nature, like, of how Kirkman's writing it, like, he's writing a genre piece that fits in the genre that also has commentary on the genre. Like, he's not shying away from it at all. So I feel like if he wasted time trying to establish it, it would feel like he was being more sincere in the approach than he wants to be. Like, I think the meta-ness to it would be lost.
Mm-hmm. It plays with the tropes. The heroes are always supposed to win, but I don't call most of what happened in season 1 a win for the good guys. I don't think the good guys ever won. It's more just like they survived, or we minimize casualties compared to last time, and I kind of love it. It's not like the villains are winning either, though. Machine Man loses his totally legitimate company. Battle Beast doesn't get a worthy opponent. Omni-Man doesn't conquer Earth. Just everybody in this show just loses. Think about one character that had like a win through like a fight or something in this show, and you no.
I agree.
I mean, Omni-Man versus the aliens. That's about it.
Yeah, like the only time.
Yeah. All right.
I agree. That's why I think the blood scene at the end was such a weird moment, because I was like, like it was so somber. It's like if after the snap happened they all went to Chili's. Like, it wasn't a good time.
Yeah, I agree. Predictions. So this show has been renewed for seasons 2 and 3 already. I haven't found a source that confirms 20, 40-minute episodes, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is the case, because that's what my friend told me. Plus it's Amazon and it's Robert Kirkman. So what are some predictions y'all have going forward? Full disclosure, I haven't read the comic past past issue 15, so I have no idea. I've heard about some characters here and there plot wise, but I don't know much, so I'm not gonna guess, because I might have been spoiled for one thing. Plus I'm gonna read the comic anyway, so I'm gonna just let y'all give me your predictions, and that's it.
I mean, my prediction is that Mark and the rest of Team Teen turn Warriors of the Globe, or whatever they're called, they're gonna team up with that alien council and hopefully take on this legion of space Hitlers, because the Vulturemites are coming. As far as
Vulturemites?
Debbie, is that what they're called?
Those Viltrumites.
Okay, Viltrumites. As far as Debbie, the real star of the show, I hope she takes a vacation. I hope she goes somewhere nice, maybe Jamaica, and just relaxes for a little bit, has a pina colada, because she's been stressed and she's gone through enough. Cecil, I hope he gets some good cosmetic surgery because the scar is really not flattering. He's a much nicer guy than that Scarlet's on. And I hope we get more Damien Darkblood because who doesn't love Damien Darkblood?
I think 20 episodes for a streaming show is a lot. I don't know of any streaming show that's doing that.
I thought he meant 20
but
as in like
I guess
10
for a
and
network
10.
show, that's less.
Like 10
I have
for the
no idea.
second
Oh.
season and 10 for the third season.
I thought
Okay, if
season
it's
2
10 and
alone-
10, that's very different.
I don't know. If it's 10 and 10, that makes way more sense. Cause
10 and 10 would make a lot more sense. There's at least I don't think any streaming show has gone for 20 episodes in a season.
No,
None that
I
know
haven't
of.
seen one more than 14.
But for network shows, that would be they do that. Like there's the 23 episode thing that's done a lot. Like I said, I hope they don't have a redemption arc for Omni-Man, but obviously I'm interested to see more of what they do with him. I hope they keep Debbie as a significant role, although I'm not sure what's next for her because they kind of ran her her whole thing this season was figuring out that Nolan is who he actually is, and now that's done. So they kind of ran out of road with that, but hopefully they can find some other compelling things for her to do. I want less characters. Let's get rid of some of the side players and, cut out the Guardians of the Globe.
I agree.
Just
The
give us-
Guardians of the Globe, why are they there?
Yeah, just give us the main characters, or the ones who are decent. I could lose the 2 blue guys, but keep their soundtrack because I would definitely like some more Run the Jewels
Just go
in
listen
there.
to Run the Jewels then, man.
I discovered some excellent songs through this show, so let's keep that going. Yeah, I don't know if I want them to take Mark to task on being a more responsible hero, because I don't know. In a way, I want less of him, but I know that's not going to happen. So
I just want him to be competent, bro. Have average intelligence. That's it.
I just don't have a lot that's compelling for me with him, and I don't know if they're I feel like it's a little too late to sell me on him. I guess keep the father-son relationship thing going because maybe that's the most compelling
That's all he has going for him.
part of it. Kind of is. I think that was the only places I felt compelled was his relationship with Omni-Man. Aside from that, he's not even a good friend to William.
No, he's a terrible friend.
And he's not a good boyfriend to Amber, really. So,
I mean, Amber's not
Or
the
at
greatest
least-
girlfriend either.
I know.
I mean, that whole relationship is kind of hard to ship. And I don't know if I don't really want him and Eve as a couple
Me
either.
either, because he's
I think
better than him.
Eve deserves better. Yeah,
Yeah.
Eve deserves better.
I want Eve and Debbie to have a spin-off show where they just flip houses.
God damn it, David! Stop making me laugh.
You'd watch it though.
I don't think I'd watch it.
I'd watch.
I would watch it. I hate housing shows, but Gillian Jacobs and Sandra Oh doing a show together, I could get on board with that.
Oh, Buddhism.
Oh, Britta's in this, yeah. I like Britta, but yeah, that's my predictions.
I still have David's list running through my head. I'm trying not to laugh. But is this under 2 hours? How dare we?
Yeah. Okay, so upcoming episodes: Back to the Future, the OG, and then both Amazing Spider-Mans after that. Check out our YouTube channel with our video essays. You can also check out our Patreon for $1 a month. We have a new episode on there where we talk about our early writing experiences. It's pretty solid, different from what we normally talk about, but that's new as of since our last main episode. You can get merchandise on Zazzle or logos by Kelsey Hendry. We are on Twitter at INTAnalysis18. I'm on Twitter at ev_Wes. I decided to change up my handle from Davos Watson, so that's new. And where are both of you at?
I'm on Twitter at Jelani_. Wait. Oh no, it's one word, Jelani T. Kelly. Instagram at Base Phoenix. Twitch, JBasePhoenix, even though I haven't been streaming there. And YouTube based series.
I'm Instagram at David's Insta account.
Okay, so thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
And just remember, kids, if you're not, God damn it, I don't know how. All right, bye.
Remember something,
Get
kids.
out there and see God Not Dead 4. It's coming out.
No.
Get your tickets while you still can.